now we're being looked at in a completely different lens.
Mm.
And, everybody who's in the Parks and Rec community is so passionate because we get to firsthand see the fruits of our labor. I mean, we really do. All the happiness that we bring to all the different groups, whether it's seniors or kids or what have you. It's a blast being a part of it. So thanks for putting that on and putting that together. That is an amazing tribute to Parks and Recreation. And I know everybody who watches it will feel the same.
All right, so we are live again from the IRPA Conference 2026 with a previous guest, John. John, why don't you introduce yourself to the community once again and tell us a little bit about where you're from?
Absolutely. Great to be here, Craig. Great to meet you in person, finally.
Yeah.
I'm John Kiwala. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of the Glenview Park District, and really excited to be here at conference and seeing all the familiar faces and honestly seeing a lot of the new technology coming out. I mean, every other booth says AI, I think. So
yes.
It's pretty awesome. So glad to be here, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, the software, we always said software is eating everything. And now software has leaped into the physical world with AI and robotics and all that stuff. How have y'all started to incorporate software and AI and even robotics into what y'all do day to day?
Sure. I actually just did a IPRA lunch and learn. It was a couple of months ago now on how to use integrated AI into kind of like your everyday working space. But a couple of the things that what we've been doing is integrated AI for websites, indexing websites, trying to make the user experience easier for our residents and our customers. And AI is a little bit of a double-edged sword. I mean, we actually just experienced a little bit of a hiccup with our registration software that we were using. And at that time, we actually, because Gemini and all of it, Copilot, just the browser you're using now, like some of these, they're up in the top right corner, right? So they're constantly indexing websites as you go to them, trying to make your experience easier. But what sometimes people don't realize is in the background, they're pounding web servers because they're refreshing thousands of times a second.
Mm-hmm.
So that can be problematic in the future for, Parks and Rec agencies that are kind of like hosted on premise and those that have limited hardware capabilities. So, and it's so funny because I just had a conversation with somebody about that. They're like, well, what are we going to do to fix that? Mm-hmm. And I said, probably like the Terminator, create an AI to stop the AI. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But it is a double-edged sword. But I think that there are, the vastness of the possibilities of what AI will be able to do for us in the future. But like I said in my lunch and learn, like what it's all about is not just like, because people use ChatGPT and they're just like typing stuff in and be like, make this look cool, or make this sound like I'm super smart. There's so many better ways to utilize AI internally, externally, but for park districts, it's about thinking more about how can this benefit our customer base, which is usually our residents, right? So like what can we do to, some people have on their websites to register for a program, they're like 10, 15 clicks before you even find the program that you want to register for the right age group. And then you have multiple kids and it's kind of a cluster, but with AI and indexing and websites and integration, like you can take that and condense it down to like, hey, I've got 3 kids ages 8, 12, and 14. We want to find a program in June on Tuesdays between 3 p.m. and 6 p.m. And you can type that into an integrated chatbot and boom, there's the programs.
Yeah.
You can look at them, drop them down, find your household, and then check out and register. So those are a lot of things that I probably see coming in the future for us, and just making that user experience for our customers and residents just so much nicer and easier. Because I was also having a conversation earlier. Somebody said that summer camp registration is akin to Taylor Swift tickets. The amount of people, like some of these bigger communities that have thousands of registrations for summer camp, it really is. Some people see, somebody just told me a town in Colorado did, I think that they said like 7,000 summer camp registrations in 45 seconds.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's amazing.
I mean, it's
You
wild.
couldn't do that without software and AI and a lot of the tools that we have.
You absolutely could not.
Yeah, and we look at, looking back through history, we saw that the horse industry around for 10,000 years was like, well, where are the gas stations? We don't have roads. Those things make noise. A horse can just get fuel off the grass right there. Yeah. And so I feel like AI and software, AI, robotics is getting a lot of similar pushback. But in hindsight, we look back and of course it was logical that the combustion engine and the vehicle would replace it. And so miraculously, UPS no longer uses horses to deliver packages. They use the truck. And so in a very similar way, when these disruptive technologies come in, what are some of the pushbacks you're seeing with AI and people that maybe have this fear of they're going to get replaced and stuff? But is there anything else where people are kind of pushing back?
I don't know that necessarily people are pushing back. I think that there's some hesitancy to adopt things that you don't know a lot about. So AI can be simple, but it can also be incredibly complex. I mean, that's the same thing with our registration softwares, or the fact that Instagram or Facebook changes its interface every other month, and we're all forced to learn something new. I think it's going to be more about, if we're so reliant on this, and if something breaks, then what do we do? That, I think that's more of not necessarily the pushback, but the potential fear,
right?
Of kind of what's down the pipeline, because as we become more reliant on technology, as we all kind of find out, same thing in our cars. It's all these new 12.9-inch dashes that we have on, all the Kias or whatever it is, and if all that goes out,
all right,
you now have a non-working car.
Yeah.
So I think it's the same kind of concept of what's going to happen if some of those things stop working. But that's part of technology. And as we continue to expand, I'm sure the conversation will start to delve into, redundant systems. What do we have for redundancy? I mean, you mentioned UPS, but, sometimes when there's 15 inches of snow and we pay for overnight express mail and it can't get there, maybe we should bring the horses back out. They can traverse it for us and get those packages where they need to go.
That's right. That's right.
Old school.
Well, I wanted to welcome my stage manager. She's behind the scenes, pressing a lot of stuff. So Jovi, thank you for helping me manage this. She's going to play, Jovi, if you don't mind, go ahead and play the Why Essential Services. Why Parks and Rec is absolutely an essential service. I'll get you to play that in a second. But John, this was something, and I'm not sure if I showed it to you when we came. I'm not even sure if we made it back then, but we made this as a gift to the industry. So you can find this on our YouTube channel for free. We don't copyright it or anything. And we made it to be played in front of elected officials that don't work every day in Parks and Recreation, that don't understand the value to the community Parks and Rec brings. So Jovi, why don't you go ahead and play that real quick, and we'll come back, and I'd love to get John's take on it.
When we talk about essential services, what comes to mind? Police, firefighters, healthcare. But there's another essential service, often overlooked, yet always present: parks and recreation. Parks and Rec is health. It's the walking trail that lowers blood pressure, the recreation center where seniors fight isolation, the swim lessons that prevent tragedy before it happens. This isn't a luxury, it's a lifeline. Parks and Rec is safety. A playground instead of a street corner, a basketball court instead of trouble, a summer camp where every child belongs. It's not just about activity, it's about protection, prevention, and possibility. Parks and Rec is community, the festival that brings neighbors together, the cultural event that teaches respect and diversity, the open space where a city breathes. It builds bridges where division once stood. It gives people a reason to gather, to connect, to care. And Parks and Rec is economics. It strengthens property values. It drives tourism through events and trails. It saves on healthcare costs. Every dollar invested multiplies, feeding back into schools, into safety, into growth. Essential service is not just about survival, It's about thriving. And Parks and Recreation is where thriving begins. In wellness, in equity, in culture, and in joy. Parks and Rec isn't extra. It's essential. For our health, for our safety, for our communities, for our future. A message from the Parks and Recreation community.
All right. So, John, what are your thoughts on that? Anything to add?
I couldn't help but smile. I mean, that nailed it. I mean, so many things went through my mind as you were going, through the different things that Parks and Rec bring to the community, from positive healthcare. But one thing struck me because I had this conversation with another executive director in a different part of the country where, things aren't so great from a community standpoint. There's some harder areas, right? And some of those difficult areas to be in, they're trying to put on amazing programs for kids, and the kids are the thing that matters, especially in that instance. And what he said to me struck me, and it was like, when I was there, there's a lot of tension in the neighborhood between battling groups of individuals, but all of them came together and said, "Oh no, they're with the park district. We don't mess with them. We leave them alone. They're here for our kids. They're here to make our neighborhood better. We don't mess with them." So it's just something in your video that kind of spoke to me and reminded me of that. And that's why we're so important, because we bridge that gap. We bring people together. We create health and wellness for communities all over the United States. And it was never so important as it was during COVID, when none of us could do anything.
Right.
And Parks and Rec departments were worldwide were just figuring out, what can we do?
Yeah.
Now we're being looked at in a completely different lens. And everybody who's in the Parks and Rec community is so passionate about this, because we get to firsthand see the fruits of our labor. I mean, we really do. All the happiness that we bring to all the different groups, whether it's seniors or kids or what have you. But it's a blast being a part of it. So thanks for putting that on and putting that together. That is an amazing tribute to Parks and Recreation. And I know everybody who watches it will feel the same way.
Yeah, well, that's a gift to the industry. Use it, wear it out, show it to as many non-Parks and Rec people as you can, so that they can get a little glimpse into what Parks and Rec does for its community. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your personal why. So why do you continue to show up year after year, dedicating your life to Parks and Recreation?
It's a great question. If we were all being honest, it would be because this is my living and this is how I pay the bills. But that's not just it, because we can choose lots of different careers, right? So why do we choose Parks and Rec? So I actually got my degree in city management. So I started my track early in my career working for cities. I started at the city of Glenview Park, Kansas, and moved on, worked for the village of Kenilworth. And it wasn't, too long until I got the opportunity to start, dipping my toes into Parks and Rec. And that was kind of when I was asked to create a Parks and Rec department from scratch. So I built one in Kenilworth, Illinois, and, did that for almost 14 years. And after meeting all the people in the industry and seeing how tight-knit this community is, there's no intellectual property in Parks and Recreation. The intellectual property is shared amongst everybody who's part of this. Yeah. And they love to be helpful. Like, they don't want anybody out here spinning their wheels trying to figure something out if they've already jumped through all the hoops and figured it out. So everybody's so eager to provide that information. Yeah. And that's one of the things that keeps me coming back, is honestly just like the people, because like I said, you see the fruits of your labor out in your community. You see the impact that you have firsthand, but then you also have this amazing group of people that I'm sure you're talking to a bunch of them today. You're interviewing them all, and they're all super passionate about different subjects or topics or what have you. And that's what makes Parks and Recreation so special. We're just not one group that's focused on one thing. We're one giant group that's focused on a bunch of people, but we all have one thing in common, which is people. So that's what I love about Parks and Recreation. That's why, for me, I didn't go back. I didn't search for city jobs. I didn't go to city management. I didn't do any of those things because, I think that that's where my heart is. And just being able to connect with so many people and smile. And when people see you here at conference, and maybe they haven't seen you since conference last year.
Yeah.
But it's funny. It's like an old friend, right? Like you start up a conversation like I just saw you last week.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. So that's why I keep coming back.
Fantastic. Well, I'll also give you, before we leave, to give you a chance to give a shout out to IRPA. But let me line Jovi out real quick, and as to why someone would want to attend this conference specifically. But before we do that, Jovi, if you want to go ahead and play after John's answer, play the Outdoor Link number 9. And then I think I already set our 400th episode, which we just recently crossed 400 episodes and made a promo thanking the community for getting us here, which John was one of our early shows that came on. So really appreciate that, John. So John, why don't you go ahead and answer that question? Why would somebody want to attend, or why should they attend IRPA, or maybe even their local state conference? What benefit has it been to you?
Well, for me, I mean, a big thing is learning about the up and coming things that are happening in our industry, whether legally, new technology, what have you. And that helps us kind of stay on the cutting edge of things, and also helps with the efficiency and effectiveness of all of our individual departments. But again, it's also something that, like for us, we kind of thrive on that social interaction and being able to have those difficult conversations about what's happening in our communities and sharing our experiences. And IPRA has been nothing but amazing since I've joined it now, more than a decade ago. I mean, it feels like forever, but they're always putting together lunch and learns. They're always putting out resources. They're always trying to figure out how to help the professionals in the field be better professionals. And we have an executive director, Susie Words. I'm not sure if you've had her.
Oh
on
yeah,
yet.
We're almost. We were scheduled to come on, and then lo and behold, somebody in Parks and Rec gets pulled over without last minute, and so we're trying to reschedule it.
Okay, well, I hope you get the opportunity to interview her. She's phenomenal. She's done a really great job with steering the organization and just doing new things and capturing new audiences and getting messaging across to our professional field in different ways. And, I have a lot of respect for her and everything that she's done and everything that IPRA brings to the table. So happy to be here. And, thanks for having me on.
Well, yeah, maybe you can help me find her here in the show. I've never met her. I don't know what she looks like, but maybe you can have her on as a guest on the show. We've got about 20 more shows that we'll do today and tomorrow. So I'd love to have her as a guest on the show, just to give a pitch to why people should attend this. Absolutely awesome. The largest in America. Fantastic job, guys, for putting this on. Well, John, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing again your journey with us. And I hope you have a great rest of your convention. Jovi, you can go ahead and hit those last 2 promo spots.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings, remotely manage facility access, update digital displays in real time, coordinate fountains and splash pads, provide public connectivity, and even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens, all from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
It didn't start with a studio, or a big budget, or a perfect plan. It started with belief. Belief that stories matter. Belief that voices deserve to be heard. Belief that community is powerful. What began as a single conversation has grown into something far bigger than us. Today we pause, we reflect, and we say thank you. To our guests, thank you for showing up, for being honest, for trusting us with your stories and letting the world hear them. To our partners and sponsors, thank you for standing with us when the vision was still taking shape. Your belief gave this network its foundation. And to our audience, the ones who listened, who watched, who shared, who believed. You didn't just support DPRS Media Network, you built it. This past year changed everything. We grew our shows, we raised our standards, we reached new communities, and we told stories that needed to be told. From parks and recreation to sports, youth, technology, and culture. We learned something important. Growth isn't about numbers, it's about impact. As we grow, our mission becomes clear. Our mission is to create media that matters, media that educates, media that inspires, media that connects people through honest, human storytelling. To spotlight the people, the programs, and the ideas shaping parks, recreation, sports, and the future of our shared spaces. And our vision is bold. We envision a media network that doesn't just document the world, but helps shape it, where local voices spark global change, where communities see themselves reflected, and where media is a force for good. The future ahead is bigger than any single episode. More voices, more stories, more collaboration. Live events, original films, deeper conversations, and a growing community united by purpose. From episode 1 to episode 400, thank you for believing when it was hard. Thank you for staying when it was uncertain. And thank you for walking this journey with us. This is DPRS Media Network, built by community, driven by purpose, powered by stories. And we're just getting started.